This award is named for the late Lois Britt. Lois was a dear friend to many, and for me, she was a colleague and a mentor. Lois invested in people. She wanted to see people succeed. She wanted them to have opportunity. And I think that's one of the reasons why she so strongly supported agriculture, and especially the pork industry, is because she knew there were opportunities for people there. The same can be said for Jan Archer. Jan has invested in people, especially young people in the state. She has worked extensively with 4-H programming and other extension programming, but she's also helped develop internship programming. She's also helped develop scholarship opportunities. There are a lot of people who can look back and say, hey, Jan Archer is the reason I'm working where I'm working today. She's been that type of person, much like Lois was herself.
First, congratulations to Jan. I think it's absolutely outstanding that Jan is being recognized in the same line as Lois Britt. I do remember one of my first few interactions with Jan. I was in North Carolina, new staffer, giving a presentation. Might have been a little nervous, but afterwards Jan came up, put her arm around me, and very politely said, "You talked a little fast. Maybe slow it down so everyone can actually understand what you're saying." And she did it in such a way with such a smile that I have tried to remember that ever since in every presentation that I have given. And that is just who Jan was. She's willing to help, willing to offer advice, but did so in a way that made you feel special and appreciated. And that continued when I went to work at the National Pork Board. As a past president there, she knew the folks that were engaged. She knew the issues and the background and the relevance, and was always willing to offer advice, input, and guidance to help not just the organization, but the industry at large be successful. And whether it's her years doing service and education in North Carolina, her time at USMEF or the National Pork Board, there's no question that Jan has been a rock and a guiding light of this entire industry. And thank you and congratulations on this award.
Congratulations, Jan, on a career well done, and congratulations on this award. From the USMEF perspective, and for all of us in the pork industry, we thank you. And Jan, you've had a tremendous influence on USMEF over the years. You served on our executive committee. You also had 10 plus years serving on our pork committee, and your insight and knowledge has been an inspiration to all of us. So we really appreciate all your efforts, joining many of our trade teams on global missions on behalf of USMEF. It's been a real honor, and thank you for everything you've done, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Jan Archer, for winning the Lois Britt Award with North Carolina Pork. First off, Jan, you're a fantastic leader. The leadership that you've shown, not only in North Carolina, the leadership you've shown on the National Pork Board, including being president of the National Pork Board, as well as your leadership on the U.S. Meat Export Federation, really stands head and shoulders above many people in the industry. You've also been a great mentor to many of us, myself included. Your ability with your experience across the pork industry, not only in the U.S., but your time working internationally, has really allowed your skills and your gentle kindness to come forward and mentor those of us that are seeking to lead today. You also play a role as a teacher. Not only do you help with pork quality assurance, transport quality assurance, but also the work at NC State. You've taught many of us around what to do and how to do it well. And when I think about our We Care ethical values and what that means to us as producers and us here working at the Pork Board, what they mean to me, I would rewrite them and say the reason that We Care works is because Jan cares. Jan, thanks for everything that you've done for all of us over the years, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in the years to come.
Well, first of all, I don't know how many people who will be watching this will remember Lois Britt. Most will, but some won't, and people need to understand that part first, which is that Lois Britt was a force for good in the pork industry, nationally and in North Carolina, and Jan Archer is also a force for the pork industry. When I came into the industry she was in the rotation as president of the National Pork Board. So she was a national figure, and I was leading the North Carolina Pork Council, and she was a counsel to me. She was a confidant, she was a friend, but importantly, she showed me how to communicate in some ways that were important at that time. So we traveled a lot together, so you get to know someone that way, and certainly Jan and her family are wonderful people. They represent the best of the pork industry. Jan Archer gave to the North Carolina pork industry, right? She gave her time and her talent in ways that I don't think a lot of people really even realize. And so that's why I think this award is so fitting. It is a special award. It is not every year. It is meant to be special, and Jan Archer is a special, special person. And so we're all just so happy for her and her family. And it's just really exciting that she's being recognized in this way.
One of the things I truly admire about Jan Archer is her ability to speak to anybody, from a little kid that walks up to her that's 4 years old to a grandparent. She can connect with anybody and talk about the pork industry in a way that's understandable and just makes sense. I've known Jan for many years. I just love being around her. I've enjoyed her time here in the pork industry. And hopefully I look forward to seeing her some more after her retirement. Some of my fondest memories of Jan are just the conversations we had as we worked various fairs and festivals. Just a lot of fun conversing with her and learning about her family and what she's passionate about.
If it wasn't for Jan, I literally probably wouldn't even be where I am today. The summer that I needed an internship with Maxwell Foods or with Goldsboro Hog Farming. I had called Brian Hooten up there, and I told him that I needed an internship to get a minor of my degree and to graduate on time the next summer. And at the time, he told me that they didn't have that. And it just so happened to find out later on, Jan Archer had a conversation with other people at Maxwell Foods or Goldsboro Hog Farms and reminded them that NC Pork Council has scholarships or money for interns. And that's when I got my internship, and I started with Goldsboro Hog Farms, and I met Jan, and she did my PQA, and she got me, all set up. And I remember thinking, wow, this woman really cares about the industry. She cares about these other interns, and she was just passionate. She just took me under her wing like she knew me for my whole life. And jokingly, I would tell people, when I grow up, I want to be like Jan Archer. And I still tell people that. And here I am today, as she's retired, taking on her responsibilities. And these are some big shoes to fill, but I promise to do her justice and to honor her work every day. She was the catalyst that began the Emerging Leaders program here, where we take these young adults that are in upper level high school or in college, and we take them and we get them started into the pork industry and help them understand what NC Pork's role is, what the national level role is, and also what career opportunities there are. And without her, we wouldn't even have that program. But we're on our second year. We just finished it out with her, and we're going to do it again next year. And I know that I can call on her to be a volunteer.
My name is Jay Archer. I'm president of North Carolina Pork Council. I don't think there is a bigger influencer in the pork industry than Jan Archer, or Mom. I couldn't be more happy for her. She's more deserving of this award. She's been my influence for getting involved within the pork industry beyond the farm. And to have someone like that in your corner has really changed my life.